Hello world, my name is James Pritz. Welcome to foobar in under 15 minutes, a segment in which I attempt to explore in under 15 minutes a library or toolset that is new to me. I'm doing this unscripted, so this could end up as foobar in the Full Metal Jacket sense, or hopefully in the generic Hello World example sense. As you can see, I spelled it the latter for good measure. This will mostly be JavaScript libraries with an exponentially growing supply of subject matter from which to choose. However, this episode focuses on setting up my development environment to support Compass and SASS, and I use Windows 8 with Visual Studio 2012. If you don't already know, SASS is essentially a tool to objectify CSS, making it a little more natural, I think, to software developers who typically expect that type of behavior in a language. So when I must do CSS, this helps tremendously with the transition. If you need to learn more about SASS, you can go to sass-lang.com. Now, admittedly, this isn't new to me or necessarily exciting, but I recently rebuilt my machine, so I might as well get some experience with this whole recording thing while rebuilding my IDE. Like I said, I'm doing this from scratch, so first thing I have to do is download a little known thing called Ruby. Perhaps you've heard of it. I'm kidding, of course. So I am running Windows 8, as I said, 64-bit. I'll grab the latest. Now I've already done this, so to save time, there it is. And I guess to be secure, I will run the checksum. That's the guy, and 5A6, FED. You can see the second line is the Ruby installer checksum, and that looks like a good match. I'll take that, and we'll go ahead and run that. That shouldn't take long. I do speak English. I do want the executables in my path. I definitely want the RB extensions. I don't think I'll be doing any GUI development, so I don't need that checked. Okay, that should be that. Now the next thing I need to do is get Compass. Compass is the tool that will actually compile the SASS. You can get that from compass-style.org. I'll open up my newly created Ruby prompt and get that gem. While that gets started, I'll go ahead and create my Visual Studio project. You know what, I should wait a second and let those paths get installed, otherwise Visual Studio won't know them. There we go. Takes a little bit longer than I expected, but that's good enough. While I'm at it, I'll go and get the 960 plugin. I don't really use 960 anymore, but my older projects do, so I'll get it while I'm sitting here. I can go ahead and open Visual Studio. So I'm creating the project from scratch, but before I do so, I want to set up my IDE so that I don't have to use the Ruby command prompt. That really is the benefit of doing this. I can do that with external tools, and I'm going to set up two new commands. One to create the Compass artifacts inside any existing project, and one to watch for file changes to my SASS file and automatically compile the CSS. That's really helpful when you're debugging. So add a new command. I'll call it create Compass project. Use the compass.bat file in the new Ruby directory. And the command is create, and I'll do it in the current project directory with, I I guess item directory as the current directory, is the initial directory. I don't want to close on exit, and I do want to use the output window. There we go. I'm going to add a new one for watching. So Compass watch. Same thing. This time it's watch, the current project directory, and item directory as the initial. Don't want to close, want to use the output window. Now I'm going to note the ordinal position because Microsoft's toolbar is not smart enough to recognize the names. It only knows it by command ordinal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Got to remember that. Now I'm going to set up a new toolbar for my compass. New, call it compass. And grab that guy. And I will add those two commands. Tools, and it should be external command 7 and 8. That guy, I wonder what 9 is. As you can see up above, there's create compass project, and I'll grab 8. And compass watch and create compass project. Good deal. I'll close that. And now I will go ahead and create a new project from scratch, and I will call it foobar. In my personal projects, add a directory. MVC4, I forgot to check that. Thankfully it was already checked. I do want Razor, and I am going to create a test project. I will likely change that to XUnit, but that doesn't matter. I won't be doing anything with that right now. Now, I should add, I'm not technically a UX guy, but I think it's good practice to maintain a basic knowledge base of these things so that we can all speak each other's language. And in my experience, I've found UX guys definitely speak their own language. Okay, so we have a new project. It does not have anything SASS related in it yet. Let's check to make sure it has all the stuff it needs. Content. jQuery, good to go. And it's using the older version of these files. I wonder why Microsoft does that. So I guess I'll go out and get the latest while I'm here. Update package in NuGet. That should get everything. There you go. Wait, that's really going to get everything, isn't it? Huh. Seems it should do that when you create the new project. Whatever, I'm just happy to have NuGet these days, so that's much better than having to manually copy all these files. Come on. There you go, good deal. Okay, also, MVC4 introduces bundles, which will do the minification and obfuscation for you. So I could technically create a bundle that compiles the SAS for me and spits out the file, but I'm going to stay with the way I'm used to doing it. I kind of like, having the changes on the fly and not having to deal with that. Not to mention, in 18 years with Microsoft especially, I've learned to follow my gut, and my gut is saying stay with this way of doing it. So the next thing I have to do is I want to create my artifacts, and I can do that now simply by clicking Create Compass Project. And that went ahead and created everything I needed. I'll show all files, and there's my SAS directory, which I will include in the project for source control. And it added these 3 files, which I will not use. So I'll go ahead and delete those. I prefer a basic kind of branding structure. I'll call it base. And I'm not really going to create any deep files, but I'll create my global for now for this demonstration. Now I do have a tool called Web Workbench from Mindscape, which helps editing the SCSS files, and it treats it more like a CSS file in the editor, so I can get all the benefits of syntax highlighting and IntelliSense. Let me rename that to global. Okay. Now I can go ahead and I'm going to bring in the mix-ins that Compass has already created by simply doing an import Compass. I'll bring in my handy reset. You gotta have one of those. Compass CSS3 shared, and I will bring in border radius for this example. Okay, I'll create a variable just for demonstration. I'll call it color blue, easy enough, and the test class. Test, good enough for me. I include border radius, say 3 pixels. And I'll give it a border, silver, some padding, and that really should be all I need to demonstrate. Now, if I turn on Compass Watch, any file changes I make should get automatically compiled. There you go. Now, in the config file, config RB, I tell it where I want my style sheets to go, where my SAS directory is, where my images directory is, and where my JavaScript is. You can also control stuff like debugging lines and turn that on and off. But right now you can see that I went to style sheets, and there's my style sheets directory. I don't include that in the project because that gets dynamically created every time I compile. And there's my new file. There's all my reset. And there's my test class. Oh, the one thing I didn't do. I'll set the color equal to my new variable. Check my file. And I have an error. Good deal. Ah, that's why. That's what I've typed in the first place. And my color blue. Good deal. So that's essentially it. That gets me up and running for CSS. I hope you find this helpful. And that's a wrap. Not too bad for my first time. I guess I'll continue with this. Thank you very much.